Hi there, welcome to another WordPress video. In today's video, we will be looking at Content Admin Essentials. My name is Clyde D'Souza. I'm a software developer by profession, and in the past few years, I've been working with WordPress and have developed a few WordPress applications in the past. If you don't know what WordPress is, it is the most popular CMS software out there, and by CMS I mean it's a content management system, which means that you can edit content, and you and maybe even multiple users can edit content of your website on the go and pretty much deploy changes almost instantly without updating code. Now, I must emphasize that this video and what we're talking about today is not the same as WordPress.com. So we're looking at WordPress.org, which is not the same as WordPress.com. WordPress.com is a blogging platform built using. It does offer some WordPress sort of functionalities. There's some similarities there, but it is still totally different. Today we'll be looking at a site that was built using WordPress.org. Now, if you're wondering if this video is for you or not, well, if you are a content editor, anyone from the business team who wants to update content on your site, then this video is for you. That's why it is aptly titled Content Admin Essentials, because it is for you content editors. Now, the topic that we'll be covering today is Gutenberg Content Editor. This was introduced in WordPress 5.0 version 5, and what really is it is blocks of content. It allows the editor to edit content as individual blocks rather than just one whole text, sort of rich text format editor. Now, if you compare this new editor with the classic WordPress editor, you will instantly find the difference. The classic editor was sort of a rich text area box where you can edit contents, drag images inline, and add rich text formatting like bold and italics and all those kind of fancy stuff. But it was not as powerful as the editor that we're going to look at today. This editor, Gutenberg Content Editor, because it's introducing these individual blocks of content, it allows us to do a lot more, and we'll take a look at many different things in this video today. Alright, so let's dive in. Now, if you have been following other WordPress videos that I've posted, you would notice that I am using a Azure site, a demo WordPress Azure site. The theme that I've used in other videos is a bit different, and I have, for this particular video, I've installed a different theme which is called 2020, and I have configured it to sort of make it more complete than just a regular demo website that we were looking at over in the past few videos. So I have updated the footer, for example. I have added content in terms of the pages. I've formatted the menu, all those kind of things, little details here and there, and of course, like the icon, the logo, all of these little things, and so it'll just give us a better view of the website. So if you're a content editor, you would probably be onboarded to a WordPress site that was almost built, I suppose, and you're just here dealing with content, and so that's really what we'll be looking at today. So to access the WordPress portal, the admin portal, you would go /login, and then in the login page you would enter your login details. Now, from the dashboard page here, you would see that there's a lot less information visible. There's a lot of menu items that are not visible as content editors when you compare to the dashboard that's visible to administrators, and that's totally fine, because as content editors you don't really want to deal with the configuration of the site itself, what themes, what appearance, how does it look. Don't really want to deal with all of those global aspects of the site. What you really want to deal with is the content of the site. You need to be able to add content, view content, delete content, and update content. So those are the 4 essentials that you need to do. So let's take a look at pages, which is really this home page here. There's an about page and the contact page. So these are a few pages here. This is gallery, which we'll look at in a while as well. So let's just look at the front page itself. If you click on edit, you'll be able to edit the front page, and instantly we will see the new content editor. And you can go through this tutorial. There's this little bit help options available here. Just tells you how what has changed, what to look for. But we'll skip it for now. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of content here, and all you might want to do sometimes is just update something. Now, there's something to note here is that each individual content here is one block, and this particular block, when you click on the block, you can see just highlighted with a little rectangle there, opens up this toolbar. This toolbar is those settings, the rich text settings for this particular block itself. Now you have this these few options. We'll go through that in a very quick format. The first thing is you can change the style, so you can make a block as a heading. Now, of course, this is a paragraph, so you might not want to do that, but you could make it a quotation, for instance. You could also reorder content blocks. Now, each individual block is one piece, so you can move it up and down and adjust it as you like. So no more cut and paste and all of those things. Just move it down, move it up and down, just graphically. You can change the alignment, left, right, center, bold, italics. You have link. There's a few other options here as well if you want to, and then of course there's a few other options here, but that's not really the formatting. It's more to do with just the block itself. This, for example, is a quotation, which then shows up with different styles. You can change the style of the quotation if you want to. Now you notice that when we click on each and every block, there's a panel here on the right that also changes, so it automatically shows us some more settings for a particular block. So that shows up here very nicely, and you can play around with a few settings over here as well. Now, of course, you might want to add new content, and as you can see, when you just hit enter, there's already a plus icon here, which you can use and just search whatever content you are thinking of adding, and it will show you what blocks are available. What you can also do is type in the / and just type what you're thinking, what you want to add, and it will do a quick search and show you what blocks are available as well. There's another way to add content blocks, which is just to click this plus icon here, and you can just search for whatever content you're thinking of adding, and then just clicking on that will automatically add that block to the page. Now I'll just remove this one here by clicking on the remove block, and there you go. One more thing you would note is patterns, which just give us some pre-built sort of patterns that we can play around with the content that we have on the page. But look, there's heaps of stuff that we can actually look at, and depending on what content you really want to be adding on your page, and how you think that it should look, you can play around with the different options available. Now, if you have worked with the old classic editor before, you would notice that, of course, the text and stuff, you would think that yes, it can be added very easily, links can be updated easily, but you would have come across a time where you'd be struggling to add buttons, you'd be struggling to add tables, and just for adding something simple as that, you would end up using a plugin just to do that, but in this case, in this content editor, that's introduced in version 5.0, you don't actually require to do that. All you're required to do is search for buttons in this case, and just type in your text. So let's say this is called Visit Google, and you can update the link for this button. So that goes to www.google.com, and it opens in a new tab. There's different styles for this button. You can go an outline style or a fill style, which just fills the button with the background image, and of course you would have noticed that it's picking up the theme's color, and so if you do want to change these styles, you probably have to get someone to make a CSS update. Now these things will affect the text of the button, and there's a few other options in here as well. So that's of course adding a button. Let's look at adding a table. In the similar format, you just search for table, and you have a table available for your disposal. Now you can set the predefined column count and row count, and you can create a table. But of course, if you do change your mind, you can always add a new column as well. And so adding a new column is pretty simple. You have this little table icon here. Just click on that, and there's a few bunch of options here. The first one is the style of the table, which you can change, and then of course there's a few other options in here as well. So that's the table. That's the button. What else do we have? So let's remove this for now. Now, one of the other things that you would have found difficult to do is adding 2 columns, 3 columns, 3-column content in the classic editor. What the new editor does is allows us to add different type of column content with ease. So you just search for columns, and you'll have a few options available over here. For this demo, I'll just select a 2-column 50-50 split. Now in the first column, you can then choose what block you want to add. Now let's say if I want to just add an image, I click on that, and from the media library I will select an image. Let's select this one. So it adjusts the size based on the space that's available, and in this one we can just add a paragraph and say some sample text. That's all you need to do, and with the just minimum steps, you have your 2-column content available, and as we seen before, in this of course we did it 50-50 as the distribution of the columns, but there's a few other options available too. Now if you don't want these toolbar options to be showing up on your screen, you can click on the top toolbar options, which will mean that instead of that little toolbar popping on top, which may or may not be annoying, depends on what you're used to, instead of popping up over there, it will just stick on the top of your screen. One of the other things that's quite useful in this content editor, in the new content editor, is the ability for plugins to make use of this APIs to be able to add the plugin information to a particular page. Now what I mean by that, so if we head over to this plus icon, you will see that there's a few options here. One of that is Ninja Forms and Ninja Forms submission table. Now this is a plugin. Ninja Forms is a plugin, and it's not a regular content block. And so if I add this particular block, Ninja Forms, what it will do is it will give me this nice UI to be able to select a form, and then what that block will do is it will go ahead and populate this particular page with that particular form. Now there's a few other plugins that can do that, and depending on what plugin your developers have installed or the administrators have installed, you may or may not see this Ninja form, but you may see some other plugins. The other way is to add a shortcode. So if you're familiar with the old way of adding things, the classic editor, you would be familiar with shortcode. So that's a particular code, random code that a plugin will provide. You just add that code and then the plugin will populate its contents, right? And so this is a better way of doing it. So instead of adding a shortcode, what you can instead do is just use this blocks that the plugin provides instead. So it just makes the life easier for content admins. To update the page, we'll just click on the update button, and in no time the page will be updated. So we just refresh the page, and we will see at the bottom we have our content, 2-column content, and then the form. Of course this code is an invalid shortcode, so that's why it has just printed the code itself. But if you have a code given to you that you can use, then it would have printed out that content as well. So as you can see, the new content editor, Gutenberg content editor, with all these blocks has made life so much more easier for content admins. Now a few more other features that we can get out of this new content editor is the ability to embed YouTube videos. Now in the page itself, if I just paste in the URL of the YouTube video, I will automatically get the embedded version of this video. So that's a little nice handy feature to have without installing any other plugins. There's another feature that we can make use of, and especially if you're a blogger, or if you're wanting to add a particular block of content on every page, then you can make use of what's called as the reusable content block. Now to do that, what you need to do is add some content. So let's say connect with us on Twitter and Facebook, right? And just assume that these were links. If you wanted to make this content reusable, what you could do is you could click on the menu here, the 3 dots, which in this case I have stuck it on top, but of course it might show up as a pop-up as well, and then just click on add to reusable blocks. Now this will allow us to add this content as a reusable block, which means we can save this with the name connect with us, and there you go, connect with us is now saved. So if I quickly update this page and show you what it looks like, the hello world page, you can see there's a menu, and of course there's this content which is all good. Now I want to add this same content onto another page, which is the important update page. At the bottom of the page, you can see that there's no content at the moment. The reusable content is not there. And the easiest way to add is just to edit the particular page. Oops. Edit the important update page. Head over to the very bottom of the page, since that's where we want to add the content. From here we search for reusable blocks. So we just search for reusable, you'll see the name, the connect with us block appearing right over here because it's a reusable block. I clicked on that and there you go. The content is right here. And now of course there's a few ideas here. You could, maybe you want to add a, subscribe to our newsletter content block. You don't want to be writing that all over and over again. Instead, you save this as a reusable block and just add it to every other page that you want. Update this particular page. Since the same changes are saved, refresh it, and now we have the connect with us on Twitter and Facebook. Very simple. We didn't have to type things twice. We just save it as a reusable block, and then there we go. We have the content available to use on all the pages. Now, depending on what plugins you have installed, the options for that plugin might also appear on your page while editing content. So in this case, in this example, we have installed Yoast SEO, which is SEO stands for search engine optimization, and this particular plugin allows us to enter content that will boost our SEO rankings for this particular site. And of course, this example is very sort of is just in particular for this Yoast SEO plugin. But if you have any other plugins that might show up on your screen, it will sort of integrate itself very well, and then you can click on things. You can add content, and you can see what content is what you've added, and then at the bottom of the page there's a little Yoast SEO preview as well. You can use those things to update the content, and then once you've made your changes, you save it, and then depending on what plugin you're using, you will see the changes online. Finally, what we'll look at is scheduling post. So now let's say you want to add a new post, but you don't want to publish it instantly. How can we do that? Let's have a look. Publish in the future. Content goes here. Let's imagine that you have written your blog post, or the same applies to pages as well. So imagine just you have written some content. Now, instead of publishing it, instead of clicking this publish button, publishing it, which will publish this page instantly, what you instead do is go to documents. Now, if this panel is hidden, it will be visible once you click on the settings icon here. Under the documents tab, you will see a few options, and over here you will see under visibility, you see publish, which is set to immediately. This can be clicked to a future date, and we can publish it on a future date. So we can set that to a future date, click on schedule, and click on schedule again, and the page will be published for the future. As simple as that. Don't need to be available at a given point of time. You can just use the scheduling features to just let it run with it. Now that was almost everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Didn't want to make it too long, too detailed. It's just a quick update on what you can do as content admins. It's really just dealing with content and just exploring stuff. I definitely would encourage you to give it a try. Create a page that's private, play around with it, see the changes. You make the changes and see how it is reflected in your browser, and then see how it goes. But of course, if you do have any questions along the way, please feel free to post it in the comments of this video, and I will get to answering as many questions as I can. If you do like the content on this channel, please consider subscribing so you can see more of such content. And of course, if you have liked the content of this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I know that you've actually liked the content. And finally, please consider sharing this video. Somebody might find it useful, so please consider sharing it with your friends and family in your network. Alright then, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care, stay safe. Bye bye.